right, good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you guys are having an awesome Monday. We are loving the December festivities and all of that. So, welcome to the holidays. My name is Craig Blanchett. Somebody else typed that, but evidently, I'm Captain Metabolic for some reason. So, you're welcome. I don't know about you, but the gun show was looking pretty live and in style. Tonight, though, we're talking about really what it is, the superpowers of metabolic health. And we're going to talk a little bit about what it means, actually, what metabolic health really looks like. And we're going to teach you and explain to you what what it means, what I call major in the majors. I think with so much information out there and so much influencers and cutting edge medicine and old medicines out and doctors are kind of out, and there's the new influencers and all these peptides and stuff, menopause and hormones and all this kind of stuff, right? Sometimes we get distracted and we major in the minors. And tonight we're going to be talking to you about how to simplify the really important things and let some of the minor things, like, put those on the back burner. Let's make sure we get the core big major puzzle pieces put together, right? And why the quality of weight matters more than the total weight on the scale. So you guys can probably put in the chat, when you step on the scale, and you've probably been weighing yourself since you were younger. When you step on the scale, if the weight goes up, you have a little like, and if the weight goes down, you have a little yay, right? There you go. Put a one in the chat, like literally, if that resonates with you. When the scale goes down, that big number goes down, well, then I get excited. If that big number goes up, I get disappointed. Because we're going to be talking about that. We're going to show you how to major in the majors, right? I want to share with you, my wife was so funny today. She goes, make sure on your presentation, a lot of people don't know what metabolic health even means. So we did a little definition. She goes, it's actually pretty simple. So we're going to go through this so you kind of add what is metabolic health, because we know what total weight is, we know what scale weight is, we know what more energy feels like in sleep and stuff like that. But what does metabolic health really mean? Well, metabolic health describes how well your body converts food into energy. You've heard of metabolism. That's how many calories you burn. So it's all about, as we eat food, how it converts us into energy, how it processes the nutrients, right, that are involved, because food has energy and then it's got nutrients. That's the vitamins and minerals, right? And maintains stable levels of blood sugar. So when we eat food, it affects our blood sugar, right? And so I'll start from the top. Metabolic health describes how well your body converts food into energy, processes nutrients, and maintains stable levels of blood sugar, fats, and blood pressure. So it's about your food conversions, nutrients, and then three main key ingredients: how your body utilizes blood sugar, fats, and the pressure of your blood. All right. So it's kind of a really big deal. It's so much more of a major than how much your total body weighs. You think about it. If you really think about it, we're going to call, you've got smart scales. What's the opposite of smart? Dumb. So we're going to call a scale that doesn't give us any more than the big number. We're going to call that a dumb scale. If you got a dumb scale, put a 10 in the chat. And if you guys have a smart scale, type the word smart in the chat. A lot of you guys have smart scales, and more of us. Pretty much 90% of the clients that I work with are now measuring body composition, which tells us so much more information than just your total weight. If you think about it, the dumb scale measures total weight. Another word for that is called gross, the gross weight, the total weight. It doesn't measure your health, it's just how much you weigh. By the way, if you were to be able to go and drink a big glass of water, you'd weigh more. And some of you, you don't have to out yourself, but some of you will only get on your scale if it's first thing in the morning after you went to the bathroom and you're naked. That you won't weigh yourself. If you forgot to weigh yourself, you won't do it until the next morning, because that number has to be ideal. Because somewhere in your brain, you don't realize, well, if I drink some water, I would weigh a little more. So the number would be different. But your brain only looks at that number and it has such an emotional connection to it. Well, that scale and that number is dumb and gross. And I'm using those terms technically, right? So a dumb scale, it ignores muscle mass and hydration. You drink some water, you weigh more. You're dehydrated, you weigh less. Some of you will dehydrate yourselves, and you're actually less healthy, but that number's lower. These games we play, right? And it creates, all these things create what I call emotional instability. You get so focused on the scale, you get so focused on that big, dumb, gross number, right? The truth, a skinny person with a high visceral fat is in more danger than a heavy person with high muscle mass. Let that sink in. Skinny fat versus heavy strong, right? So we've got some things we want to introduce you to Captain Metabolic. And I was going to have a cool, cape and all that on, but there you go. So immunity crashes, right? When you are metabolically stable, no more 3 p.m. slump. You have stable energy all day long because you're managing how you fuel your body. You guys all know about every 2 to 3 hours. You want to avoid going longer than 3, right? 3's the cutoff. So be conservative. 2.5 works really good. And then Captain Metabolic, he has disease defense, protects organs from inflammation and metabolic stress. So your organs, when you have the fat inside of your cavity, we call that killer fat. Now the technical term is visceral adiposity, kind of a fancy word, but we're just the killer fat, the beer belly, the gut, all that, the stuff that's around your organs, and it causes inflammation and metabolic stress. The other thing Captain Metabolic does, clean burning, efficiently flips to fat burning versus sugar. You understand how to burn fat instead of store fat, right? And most of the time, you're used to burning sugar. So these are some really, really cool features that you can do. So we're going to move on to majoring on the majors, right? Here's the minors. We obsess over the things, but shouldn't, right? Daily scale fluctuation. Oh, I'm up. Oh, I'm down. Sometimes you weigh yourself every day. And by day 3, you're up 2 pounds and you're freaking out. By day 7, you're down 5. And it's just this crazyville, right? BMI. Oh, my goodness. So many of my clients will tell me the BMI. And I'm like, do you understand what BMI is? BMI is body mass index. It's your height and weight ratio. Now, if all you have is your weight, BMI is helpful, right? You have your total weight. Well, the BMI gives us a ballpark. But if you have a smart scale, oh my goodness, we can zero in. The other thing to major in is clothing size. Seriously, it's like you're just trying to get into that smaller size clothing, rather changing your body composition, and you don't exactly know what size you'll wear when you're strong and fit and lean. So the majors, metabolic stability, that's your blood sugar, right? Lean skeletal muscle. We're going to call that the shield. I'll have a cool video later. And then visceral fat, that's what kind of like the static. That's the stuff that's around your organs. You want to pay attention to visceral fat levels. All right. Metabolic stability, lean skeletal muscle, and visceral fat. So we're going to show you. I got a picture of what it looks like to have one of these smart scales and some of the numbers that are on there. Now you see a bunch of numbers on there, right? Muscle fat. You see the protein. I just don't even pay attention to that. Bone mass. All right. Body water, skeletal muscle, subcutaneous fat. The things that I would recommend you major on when you're starting to learn about body composition, there's only three of them. And it is your body fat percent. That's the top right one. This person's 18.2. The fat-free body weight. If you think about it, you have all of you that's fat, and you have different kinds of fat. Your brain is made of fat. That's pretty essential, unless you're brainless, right? So you have certain kind of fat that's essential, and then you have non-essential fat, right? Well, in your lean, you have everything that's not fat shows up in the fat-free body weight. That includes your body water. It includes your bones. It includes your muscle, the muscle that's on your, that moves your body. It also includes your organs, your heart, your lung, your colon, and your skin. So fat-free is all of you that's not fat. And so if you were 18.2%, the inverse of that number is what you are lean, because both those numbers add up to 100% of you. So I like to track body fat percent, fat-free body weight in pounds. I want to see that if what that fluctuates. And the other one is called visceral fat. You want that visceral fat to be low, below a 7. And so if you're above that, you want to work on that, because that's the killer fat. That's your kryptonite for Captain Metabolic. All right. So next up, we've got to bring on my buddy here, Cody. And so Cody and I have been working together. We've known each other for a year or so. And um, if anybody were to look at you, Cody, I mean, you might have been, well, you would have been considered thin compared to the average, but you probably had a little bit of weight on you. And I'm curious, just as you think about like where you were and where you are now, like it is like there's some of his stats. He's lost 61 pounds. I mean, talk about kind of where you were and how you felt, and then the transition there, your metabolic transition to where you are now. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me. I don't think you ever really truly know kind of where you're at until you see that transition. And when I look at these pictures and see where I was at to where I've come now, it's insane. But I was sluggish and just wasn't feeling well. I wasn't sleeping great. My energy was in the tank. I was lacking purpose. And my wife and I started this, and we both had tremendous results, and we had really fast results, and we pretty quickly started feeling better and sleeping better, and having good nutrition and good hydration. Obviously, you can see the difference that it made just physically in our life.
Yeah. What tell us a little bit about the body fat percent, because I know your clothes probably are different. Yeah, I know you've changed some medications. I mean, it's crazy. 61 pounds, Cody. I was thinking 30 tops, and I can judge it pretty good. And I'm just like, what? Where was all that fat hiding? But it was somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah,
But tell us
the
about kind of those
clothes
different. Yeah.
the clothes thing is one thing we were just talking about tonight. We're gonna go try and buy some new clothes. We're kind of waiting for that perfect time to go get some new clothes, but we've got to the point where we can't avoid it anymore because everything's so baggy and so loose and looks awkward. So that thing has been a big deal. And then the medication point too. I was on two blood pressure medications previously. I'm off one completely, which I've been off of for a couple months now. And I've been on program for 4 months. And so about halfway through, I came off my first blood pressure medicine. and then slowly moving off of my second one right now. And just due to the nature of the medication, I have to come off of that one slowly. Otherwise, I could be off of that one completely as well. So my blood pressure got so low that I had to come off of it. And, that's an amazing feeling to know that I don't have to be on medication anymore. One less thing I'm putting in my body that isn't good for me or potentially has long-term effects. And, just looking forward to the future because of that.
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to Cody earlier and I was saying, medications can be very powerful, very effective too, but very powerful. But with that power, it's like there's two sides of the coin. You got one side and you got the other side, right? And there's two sides of the coin. You got the power and the benefit, and the other side is the power and what we call side effect, right? And I was thinking, these medications are so powerful that you have to wean off of them. And I was talking about our nutrition, our metabolic nutrition and fuelings and all these things. And I was like, I mean, you might have to wean yourself off one of the s'more crunch bars, right? Because they're so tasty. But think of it, there's nothing dangerous about the nutrition. It's good for us. And medications, you didn't have high blood pressure because your body was low on blood pressure medication. Think of that. You don't have a headache because your head is low on aspirin. There's something going on. And adding in a prescription or some type of medication isn't, it's a band-aid. It kind of covers up a symptoms in many situations. And now for you, it was life-saving with the blood pressure. But now we've changed the things inside of your body so the meds are not necessary. The meds actually would become dangerous now that you become metabolically healthy. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it's just crazy to think about it.
Yeah, it's the motivation for just our lifestyle has gone through the roof because of this program, which is why I'm a coach now. And
Mm-hmm.
it just makes you want to share that and help save someone else's life. Give them an opportunity to do something that's so healthy and so good for you, and just changes your brain. Honestly, that's one of the biggest things about this whole program was the mindset shift. Is and the learning aspect. I've been reading so much and learning so much, and it's opened up an amazing new door in my life, and it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I love seeing you and Jade together, and where you guys were when we met you, and you both have transformed. She, by the way, looks way better with her transformation because she's so pretty. You're just a guy, right? But you both together are just so, like, you look like you fit together. Like, I don't know, it's just awesome watching you and your son and just the whole thing of how you guys have made such changes. And Cody at the beginning, he said, I got a lot of people that are asking questions. How many can I send to you? And I said, send them all. And I go, but I'd rather partner with you. And he's like, okay, give me about 6 weeks and let's rock. And so that's exactly what happened. And so I love the fact that we get to work together to help other people as a team because you got so much to offer and such an amazing transformation yourself. So thanks for being with us tonight, Cody. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we got some of the superpowers of Captain Metabolic is number one, the furnace. And this is, you have this thing called mitochondria. We're not going to get too deep, but it makes it more efficient for your body to convert energy, right? Consistent fueling, what we do on the 5-in-1, means our mitochondria become efficient. And that leads to metabolic stability. So that's superpower number one, mitochondrial efficiency. Second one, I love this one, is the shield. Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum. Now this lady's jacked, right? She's got a shield of muscle. And so our skeletal muscle becomes a shield. Muscle isn't just for looking buff, but it's pretty good for that. It's an organ. It acts as a sponge for glucose. Glucose is another word for sugar, carbohydrates, right? And so muscles love to soak up that sugar. So having more of those is good. More muscle, better glucose disposal. Muscles eat glucose. They eat sugar. That's their fuel. Less muscle, blood sugar spikes, instability. You cannot starve your way to a strong shield. All right. So that's superpower number 2 is skeletal muscle. Superpower number 3 is the force field, right? Clearing the static. That's that visceral, quote unquote, killer fat. Visceral fat hides deep in the belly, wrapping around the organs. It's biologically active and releases inflammatory signals, right? It's the gnarly. It is far safer to have a butt that's fat than have a gut that's fat, literally. Like, you don't have any organs in your butt, but you've got lots of organs in your belly, and you don't want that to be insulated. You don't want that to have all that fat in there. So this causes high visceral fat, which is constant inflammation. It's like a drip of inflammation. Inflammation is good when it's short term. It's actually very healing. But when your body is under threat all the time, that inflammation sticks around, and it's deadly. Metabolic instability when you have high visceral fat. That's superpower number 3. So how are we going to activate our superpowers? Pacing. Eat every 2 to 3 hours to stabilize your blood sugar. I just talked with a lady earlier today, and she said, I've noticed in 2 weeks my sweet tooth went away. And I asked her, do you know why that happened? She says, no. And I said, well, you'll learn. It's only been 2 weeks, but it's because we're balancing your blood sugar. And when you get hungry and your sweet tooth comes out, it's because you've spiked your blood sugar. You had a peak followed by a valley. And when we prevent the peaks and the valleys, your sweet tooth goes away because your blood sugar is normalized. So pacing is critical. Hydration. A dehydrated body is a stressed body. 64 ounces is your goal. You can do bonus, but 64 is your goal. Resistance. I'm telling you, oh, this is so critical. Use muscles to soak up excess energy. Muscles also move you around. Muscles keep you stable. Muscles keep you independent. Means you can take care of yourself. You can walk up and down stairs with confidence. For women, as we get older, they fall and break a hip. Half of those women that fall and break a hip die. So tripping and falling and breaking a hip, you got a 1 in 2 chance of death. You want to avoid broken hips. And that is by having strong muscles. I'm telling you, it's not an option anymore. Weakness is a problem. Sleep is the next one. The time when your shield repairs itself, your muscles go to work and repair themselves, your hormones get topped up for the next day. So much that happens when you are sleeping. So this is how to activate your superpowers: pacing, hydration, resistance, and sleep. Are you feeling it? So here is the new scorecard. Are you ready? The old way. Remember when we majored in the minors? Did the scale move today? The new way. Did my energy stay stable all day? Right? The old way. I want to be smaller. The new way. I want to be stronger and more resilient. The old way. I'm starving myself to lose weight. The new way. Fueling myself to build a shield. Muscle protein synthesis. Ooh, love that word. MPS. The old way, obsessing over a number, trying to, oh, I just want to get to 135. Who cares what 135 is, right? What body fat are you at 135? The new way, celebrating looser pants, visceral fat loss. So much different, so much different. All right, guys. So unleash your inner hero, right? Stop fighting the dumb scale number. Focus on the majors, right? I love this word, build your sanctuary of stability. Become a captain metabolic in your own life and start exercising your superpowers. I hope this has been helpful for you tonight. So when you look at that scale and you look at those numbers, you can just start with the basic numbers: body fat, fat-free, body weight, and the last one is visceral fat. All right. So that's the conclusion. And next week, coming up, we have on the 15th. No, that's not right. Well, look at that. What is next week? Can you help me out here, anyone?
12:15. That's going to be 12:15. Someone might have missed a 2 there.
That's right. Thank you. Captain Metabolic can't read. So
Even Captain
12:15.
Metabolic makes mistakes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. The microenvironment of metabolic health. So it's that whole ecosystem around you and what is going on and how can you set up an environment, that close-knit environment around you, so that you can actually be amazingly healthy and get that metabolic health tuned up. So thanks to Cody, thanks to everybody else who's listening tonight. And I hope you will continue to pursue metabolic stability in your own life. Thanks a lot, everybody. Good night.